What if every joke you make is being taken literally by an invisible servant with the power of a god and absolutely no sense of humor? According to an audiobook I just listened to, this giant has been following me around my entire life with a notebook. If I look in the mirror and joke, "God, I'm getting old," he doesn't laugh. He writes, "Yes, master, aging confirmed." If I lose my keys and say, "How stupid am I?" apparently he says, "Understood, preparing further evidence." Now, a little while ago, I counted 105 thoughts that tried to take me away from myself in a single day. That experience taught me that the first thought is not necessarily my truth. I told that full story in an earlier episode called "The 3 Seconds That Can Change Your Life." If you haven't listened to it yet, I recommend going back to it, because today's conversation begins exactly where that one ended. I thought I had understood thoughts. Then this book told me something far more dramatic. The thought may be an order. At first, I found that fascinating. Then the book mentioned robbery. It claimed that feeling unsafe could send out a victim signal and help arrange the meeting between a robber and the person being robbed. I have been robbed by 2 armed men. And suddenly, this was no longer an entertaining idea about lost keys. So, for the next hour, I want to investigate whether our words genuinely shape our world, whether there is any truth behind this giant servant, and how we can speak consciously without becoming terrified of every thought that enters our minds. The audiobook did not introduce this idea gently. It began by telling me that I had been sold a lie. The lie, according to the book, was that the universe behaves like a father, watching from above, deciding who's been good, who deserves a reward, and who must suffer until they learn the appropriate lesson. The book said, no. The universe is not your father, it is not your teacher, it is not even your judge. The universe is your servant. And immediately, I thought, "Excuse me? My servant? We have only just met." The book asked me to imagine an invisible giant following me 24 hours a day. A giant powerful enough to open doors, bring people together, create opportunities, and reorganize the circumstances of my life. But this giant has one rather serious defect. He has no judgment of his own. He does not understand good or bad. He does not understand sarcasm. He does not understand that sometimes I am frightened, frustrated, or simply being dramatic for 5 minutes. He only understands the instruction. And every time I give him one, he answers, "Yes, master." I believed in manifestation before this book. There were things I had wanted deeply, believed in, and eventually watched become real. I understood desire, I understood prayer, I understood working towards something while trusting that God could open doors I could not yet see. But vibration? The idea that my emotional state was broadcasting instructions every moment of the day? I had never understood manifestation like that. The book called the universe deaf. It said I could stand in my room shouting, "I am a millionaire," until my neighbors became concerned. But if my stomach tightened every time I looked at a bill, the words would mean nothing. The real instruction would be the feeling, fear, scarcity, need. And the giant would answer, "Yes, master." More scarcity confirmed. That made me stop, because we all know the difference between what we say and what we feel. We say, "I'm fine," while our entire body is saying, "I am absolutely not fine." We say, "I trust that everything will work out," and spend the night rehearsing every possible disaster in extraordinary detail. The mouth says one thing, the body tells another story. But then the book went further. It said we have been issuing commands without knowing it. I'm getting old. I'm always tired. I'm terrible with money. I always choose the wrong person. I never have any luck. I'm so stupid. Most of us say these things without conducting a spiritual risk assessment first. Sometimes we are joking. Sometimes we have lost our keys and would simply like to blame someone. And unfortunately, we are the nearest available person. But imagine the giant behind you. You say, "I always lose everything."
Yes, master.
No one ever stays.
Yes, master.
Money disappears the moment it reaches me.
Yes, master.
Once that image enters your mind, it is difficult not to hear it. You begin noticing how quickly a temporary experience becomes a permanent identity. Not, "I made a mistake," but "I am stupid." Not, "I feel tired today," but "I am always exhausted." Not, "This person hurt me," but "Everyone hurts me." One event becomes a pattern. The pattern becomes an identity. And the identity becomes a sentence repeated so often that it no longer sounds like a thought. It sounds like a fact. Even if there is no invisible giant, that sentence is being heard by someone. I am hearing it. My body is hearing the contempt in my voice. My attention is learning what evidence to search for. My choices may begin organizing themselves around what I repeatedly believe myself to be. That part made sense to me. But the book was not merely saying language influences psychology. It was making a much larger promise. It said reality itself responds. That the world outside me must eventually rearrange itself to reflect the state inside me. And I could feel the attraction of that idea. Because if it is true, I am not waiting helplessly for my life to change. I can change the signal. I can change the instruction. I can stop begging. I can begin creating. But there was something hidden inside that promise. Because if the servant obeys every instruction, and if my inner state creates everything I experience, then I am not only being asked to take responsibility for what I build next. I'm being asked to accept authorship of everything that came before, including the things I never requested, including the things I never imagined, including the things I would never have chosen. And before I could decide whether this book had handed me the control room of my life, I needed to understand exactly what price it was asking me to pay for the key. Have you ever woken up feeling perfectly fine, then looked at your phone, and allowed one message to decide what kind of day you are going to have? Someone replies warmly, you feel loved. They answer with one word, you investigate the punctuation. They do not answer. And suddenly your mind has produced an entire documentary about why they no longer care. No interview was required. Your mind already has sources. We do the same thing with money. You check your bank account. The number is lower than expected. And within seconds, you have not merely discovered how much money is available. You have apparently discovered your value as a human being. We do it with the mirror. One morning, the lightning is kind. The next, it appears to have developed a personal issue with us. And suddenly, we are questioning our face, our age, and every carbohydrate we have eaten since childhood. The outside world offers one piece of information. We turn it into an identity. That was what I began noticing in myself. My internal state was constantly asking the world for permission. Am I allowed to feel secure? Let me check the money. Am I allowed to feel worthy? Let me see how people respond to what I create. Am I allowed to feel loved? Let me check who stayed. Am I allowed to believe in my future? Let me inspect the evidence. If the evidence looked good, I felt good. If it changed, I changed with it. I was allowing every room to set my temperature. For years, many of those rooms looked beautiful. I lived high above London. I had the home, the view, and the visible signs telling me, you are doing well, you are safe, you are still the woman you believe yourself to be. Then those signs began disappearing. Money changed, people changed, safety changed. Eventually, even the room changed. I found myself rebuilding inside someone else's home. And if my identity had been created entirely by my surroundings, I should have disappeared when they did. But I didn't. Something in me remained, not untouched, not magically healed, but present. I began waking up grateful before checking whether life had earned my gratitude that morning. I could acknowledge that money was limited without deciding that I was limited. I could miss my former home without treating my current one as proof that I had failed. I could receive support without turning it into shame. I could say, "This is where I am." But this is not the full definition of who I am. A bank balance is information. It may require a plan, but it is not a character reference. A person's silence is information. It may need clarification, but it is not proof that I am unlovable. A difficult reflection may tell me I am tired, or that the bathroom lighting should be arrested. It does not decide my worth. I began understanding that I could want something deeply without placing my identity inside it. I could prefer for someone to stay, without believing I would disappear if they left. I could want abundance, without treating the Alexandra who was rebuilding as inferior. I could dream of a larger life, without insulting the life holding me while I built it. This did not mean ignoring reality. If there was a bill, I still had to deal with it. Apparently, companies do not accept inner peace as payment. It meant refusing to let the bill choose who would answer it. Would fear answer? Would shame answer? Or could I pause, return, and allow the woman I was becoming to make the next decision? That was where shaping my internal state became believable. Not because I had watched my thoughts summon a car or manufacture money, because I had watched one thought alter the way I entered a conversation. I had watched fear make me chase. I had watched insecurity make me over-explain. I had watched gratitude return beauty to a day whose circumstances had not changed. A different interpretation created a different action, and a different action sometimes created a different result. So when I heard that our inner state shapes our world, part of me thought, yes, I have lived it. But I had lived one version of that statement. My inner state shapes how I see, choose, speak, and act. The idea I had encountered was offering another. My inner state shapes everything that happens to me. Those sentences sound almost identical, but they are not. And somewhere between them, personal power can quietly become personal blame. The audiobook told me to imagine every thought as an instruction. Behind me stood the giant servant with his notebook, waiting to answer, "Yes, master." But before meeting this giant, I had already spent a day consciously watching my mind. It had produced 105 thoughts, so I decided to investigate. I went to the park, bought a sandwich, and planned a picnic beneath a tree. Beautiful view, quiet afternoon, the perfect setting to study the mind. Then I tasted the sandwich. It was horrible, not disappointing, horrible. Immediately a thought arrived. This is not the sandwich I wanted. Then, this moment is ruined. Then one tried to acquire the entire afternoon. Nothing ever goes the way I want. I looked at the sandwich, then at the tree, the view, and the beautiful moments still surrounding me, and realized the sandwich had somehow applied to become manager of the picnic. That was when I saw it. These thoughts were not equal. "I don't like this sandwich" was information. "This moment is ruined" was an interpretation. Nothing ever works for me was using one sandwich as evidence in a court case against my entire life. And the sandwich had not even been called as a witness. That was when the image of colored balls came to me. Every thought was a ball thrown toward me. Some were light, some were heavy, some passed quietly. Others came toward my face as though my mind had been training for the Olympics. Before becoming conscious, I caught every ball and assumed it belonged to me. But a thought entering my mind does not make it mine. My mind produced it. That does not mean I agreed with it. So I gave the balls colors. Blue was information. I have 200 pounds. My friend has not replied. My body feels tired. Blue may require action, acceptance, or a plan, but it does not require me to become anything. Yellow was interpretation. She has not replied because she is angry. People will think ELUMINIST has no value if they know I am rebuilding. This disappointment means the whole day is going badly. Yellow asks, what do I know? What am I assuming? Is there another explanation? Red was the identity attack. I am stupid. I am worthless. Everyone takes advantage of me. I will never rebuild. Red takes something temporary and tries to engrave it into who I am. I made a mistake becomes I am a mistake. I have less money becomes I am less valuable. One person hurt me becomes everyone will hurt me. The audiobook told me to treat a negative thought like a cockroach in my food. Kill it before it lays eggs. I understood the urgency, but I do not want to become violent with my own mind, and I do not want every unwanted thought to become a spiritual emergency. If I panic because I thought, I'm getting old, I have not become free. I have simply become frightened of thinking. So when a red ball arrives, I do not need to attack it or shout, cancel, toward the sky before the giant begins the paperwork. I can recognize it and say, I see what you are trying to make this mean, but I am not giving you that authority. Then I choose green. Green is not a beautiful lie. It is not, I am a billionaire while I am frightened about a bill. Green is the honest direction I choose after seeing clearly. My balance requires attention. It does not define my worth. I do not know why she has not replied. I will not reject myself on her behalf. I made a mistake. I can correct it without becoming it. This sandwich disappointed me. It does not own the tree. That became my method. See the ball, name its color, decide what it requires, act on it, question it, release it, or let it pass. The book made me conscious of my language. The ball stopped me from becoming afraid of it, because a thought can arrive without my permission. But repetition requires my participation. One joke does not automatically become my identity. But if I repeat a sentence, defend it as truth, and make decisions from it, it may begin shaping me. Not necessarily because a giant rearranged the universe, because I heard it. My body heard it. My attention searched for evidence. My behavior began protecting it. And people may have responded to the person I became while believing it. That is already enormous power. But the audiobook was claiming more. It was saying the ball does not only shape the person who catches it, it can shape the world outside her. So perhaps the first thought is not an order. Perhaps it is only a ball. But what happens when I keep catching the same one, carry it everywhere, and begin building my life around it? And how far beyond me can its consequences truly travel? Suppose I send someone a message. Hours pass. They do not reply. One thought says they are busy. I remain calm. Another says they are ignoring me. My chest tightens. I check when they were last online. I examine a full stop as though it has entered a criminal investigation. Perhaps I send another message, then another one pretending not to be another one. Perhaps I become cold before they explain. They feel the tension. The conversation changes. By the end, I say, I knew they were pulling away. But did the thought predict what happened, or did it travel? The interpretation changed my body changed my tone changed the interaction. The response returned as evidence that the thought was right. That is one way a thought shapes reality without an invisible force rearranging the universe. It travels through us. Imagine two capable women entering an interview. One thinks, they will discover I do not belong. Her shoulders contract, her answers become smaller. She rejects herself before the company decides. The other thinks, I am here to discover whether we are right for each other. She breathes differently. She asked questions. Her thought cannot force them to hire her, but it changes the woman who enters the room, and that woman may create a different experience. This is where words have real power. They become instructions to our attention. If I repeat, I am terrible with money, I may avoid my finances because every number feels like judgment. I delay opening letters. I make frightened decisions. Then the consequences arrive and I say, see, I told you. The sentence creates behavior that keeps it believable, but if I say, I am learning to manage what I have, money does not appear from nowhere. Something less magical and more useful happens. I can look, I can learn, I can make a decision without turning it into a judgment of my worth. If I joke once, God, I'm getting old, I have not ordered my cells to surrender. But if I repeat it daily, expect decline, stop moving, and treat every ache as evidence that life is closing, the belief may change how I live inside my body. Its power comes through repetition, identification, and action. The audiobook suggested that standing like Wonder Woman could change our chemistry and command reality. The larger claims behind power posing have not held up reliably, but posture still matters. If I stand upright, breathe fully, and lift my eyes, I may feel more present and speak more clearly. I do not need to believe my shoulders transmit an abundance frequency to benefit from taking up my own space. Visualization can also help. If I imagine giving a calm presentation, my mind rehearses it. I notice what needs preparation. My body may feel less alarmed. But imagining success is not preparing nothing and expecting the chairs to applaud out of respect for my vibration. Vision can guide action. It cannot replace it. And then there is gratitude. Gratitude has changed my days. It interrupts the habit of seeing only what is missing. It returns my attention to what remains. But there is a difference between gratitude changes what I can see, and gratitude forces the universe to send me whatever I thanked it for. One describes a change within me. The other claims control over events outside me. They can feel similar because internal change has consequences. When I am calmer, I may notice an opportunity. When I believe change is possible, I may make the call. When rejection no longer feels like death, I may try again. One person calls the result manifestation. Another calls it psychology, behavior, preparation, or probability. Perhaps sometimes we will not know where one ends and another begins. I can remain open to mystery. I can believe God guides, provides, and opens doors beyond what I can calculate. But openness to mystery is not the same as claiming I understand the machinery. I can follow a thought through my body, attention, language, decisions, and relationships. I can see how it participates in an outcome. But the audiobook asks me to follow it further, out of my mind, out of my behavior, into another person's choices, into the illness, into accidents, into crime. It asks me to believe my internal state can arrange an event I never imagined, wanted, or consciously created. That is where I lose sight of the chain, and where total power asks me to take responsibility for another person's actions. Then the audiobook gave an example that changed everything. Imagine someone afraid of being robbed. According to its theory, that fear becomes a victim signal. Somewhere else, a criminal wants to rob. The universe detects both frequencies, it adjusts the timing. One person leaves late, the other turns the corner. The robbery happens, mission accomplished. Then came the sentence I could not move past: nobody is vibratorily innocent. I have been robbed by 2 armed men. This was no longer a theory about lost keys. I had broadcast the signal. The men responded. The universe coordinated us. I did not know what to do with that. Before the robbery, I had never imagined being robbed. I was not frightened of armed men. I had never visualized someone taking my phone, bag, or access to my money. The possibility had never entered my mind. What I had felt was broader. I do not feel safe in my life. The year before had contained instability, conflict, and loneliness. I remember telling my mother, "Something is wrong, but I do not feel safe" is not the same as "I am going to be robbed." So I asked, had the feeling created danger, or had it recognized that parts of my life were already unsafe? Sometimes a feeling is information. A smoke alarm does not create the fire, it responds to something it detects. Sometimes burnt toast creates unnecessary national panic in the kitchen. But we do not accuse the alarm of manifesting flames, we investigate what made it sound. Perhaps my body detected instability before I could name it. That does not prove a robbery was approaching, and it does not prove my fear arranged one. But I understand why the theory is seductive. The alternative is frightening. Another person can make a choice that changes my life without permission from my thoughts. I cannot control every person, street, illness, or outcome with the correct frequency. Total responsibility appears to offer escape from uncertainty. If I created everything, perhaps I can prevent everything. The theory gives me a crown, but before placing it on my head, it asks me to carry every painful event as an instruction I must have given. That is the price of total control. Blame. It asks me to accept responsibility, even when it cannot show how I caused the event. It fills the missing evidence with vibration. And because vibration is invisible, I cannot prove I did not send it. If something good happens, my vibration created it. If something painful happens, my hidden vibration created that too. If I say I never wanted it, the answer is, your conscious mind did not, but your unconscious frequency did. Every outcome becomes proof. That does not mean our inner state is powerless. Fear affects behavior. Beliefs influence situations we enter, tolerate, or avoid. I am not closing the mystery, but mystery must remain mystery. I cannot turn uncertainty into certainty because certainty feels powerful. And I cannot use spiritual language to move responsibility from the person who chose harm into the person who survived it. The men who robbed me made a decision. Whatever I felt before that day, I did not make it for them. Their choice belongs to them. My life before the robbery belongs to me. The ways I abandoned myself, ignored intuition, tolerated unhealthy dynamics, or built my identity on unstable things, those are mine to examine. But examining my life is not accepting authorship of another person's crime. That distinction gives me accurate power. I cannot return to that day and control those men. I cannot promise that perfect thoughts will prevent every painful event. But I can decide what happens between the event and the identity I build around it. I can decide whether loss becomes proof that I am cursed or permanently unsafe. I can decide whether their action continues speaking through my voice after they are gone. Perhaps the power was never in believing I controlled the event. Perhaps it was in discovering that the event did not have to control every version of me afterward. I still do not know why everything happens. I do not know how much of life is choice, consequence, chance, divine permission, or mystery. But not knowing is more honest than filling the mystery with blame. And if I rebuild consciously, I need power that does not require me to accuse the woman who survived what she never chose. So where does this leave me? Do I apologize to the universe whenever I make a bad joke? Do I wake it through because one negative thought may have reached the cosmic complaints department? No. If consciousness makes me frightened of my own mind, I have created another authority to fear. I do not know whether an invisible giant stands behind me, but someone is listening when I speak about myself. I am. My body is listening. My attention is listening. My choices are listening. That is enough reason to become conscious. Not superstitious. Not frightened. Conscious. I am keeping some things from the audiobook. Words matter. Gratitude stops what is missing from becoming all I see. I can rehearse the woman who will act. I can want something without placing my identity inside it. But I am leaving the belief that one unwanted thought can curse my future. I am leaving the idea that pain proves a low vibration. I am leaving the denial of facts. And I am leaving the image of God as a mechanism operated by the correct words. God is not my servant. Prayer is not a purchase receipt. Faith is relationship. It is remaining connected to the light of the Creator when I cannot explain what happens next. So what will I do with the next thought? I will treat it like a ball. Imagine an ordinary morning. You burn the toast. You spill coffee on the clean top you wanted to wear. You reach the bus stop as the bus leaves. Then someone you know walks past without greeting you. Nothing catastrophic has happened, but your mind is preparing a documentary called The Day Everyone and Everything Turned Against Me. This is when I check the balls. Blue is information. The toast burned, coffee spilled. I missed the bus. She did not greet me. Blue asks, what actually happened? Replace the toast, change the top, catch the next bus, allow for the possibility that she did not see you. Blue is inconvenient, but it is not an identity. Then yellow arrives. This day is going to be a disaster. She ignored me deliberately. Everyone will judge me. Yellow has taken a fact and added a story. So I ask, what do I know? What am I assuming? Has the entire day truly declared itself before breakfast? Then red tries to enter. I am so chaotic. Nobody respects me. I can never get anything right. Red does not describe the morning. It tries to name the person living it. Burning toast becomes incompetence. Missing one bus becomes failure. One absent greeting becomes proof that I do not matter. I do not attack the thought. I do not shout cancel before the giant processes my request. I say, I understand why you arrived, but you are not my name. Then I choose green. Not, this is the greatest morning of my life. The toast has made that difficult to defend. Green is the most honest, loving direction available. This morning has been inconvenient. I am still capable. I missed one bus. I have not missed my entire life. I do not know why she did not greet me. I will not create rejection without evidence. Green does not change what happened. It changes what I carry into what happens next. That is the practice. See the ball, name its color, act on the fact, question the interpretation, refuse the identity attack, choose an honest direction, let the rest pass. Sometimes I will see red immediately. Sometimes I will carry it until lunch. Sometimes I will throw it at someone else and recognize it afterward. A late return is still a return. I can apologize. I can correct myself. I can put the ball down. The goal is not to become a woman who never thinks negatively. It is to stop giving every thought permanent residence inside my identity. The audiobook offered me power over the universe. I cannot honestly claim that. What I can claim is the 3-second space. The space where I separate fact from story, where I decide what speaks next. It is smaller than controlling reality, quieter than commanding a giant, and no invisible servant can do it for me. I have to return, again and again. So when an ordinary moment throws a thought toward you, before you catch it, look at the ball. What color is it? And what sentence have you repeated for so long that it stopped sounding like a thought and started sounding like your name?